Yo, Kidsway, what's going on? Welcome back to another week here in Kidsway's studio. We're so glad that you guys are here. My name is Julian. I get to be our pastor here in Kidsway, and today marks week number 4. That's right, you guessed it. Week number 4 in our series called Reconnect. This series has been really great. We've been talking about peace for the entire month of April. We've been talking about what peace looks like, where it comes from, how we can be peacemakers, and today is going to be no different. Today, we're going to tell you about a story with a girl in it who really made a huge difference. Her name was Abigail. So shout out to you guys. If your name is Abby, you spell it A-B-B-Y or A-B-B-I-E or there's just different ways that you could spell Abby for Abigail. But if that's you, shout out to you because our Bible story is going to be talking about a young lady named Abigail. She was absolutely amazing. She was a game changer for somebody very famous in the Bible. And so, as we get into that, I want you guys to keep in mind our big answer for this week. Our big answer says this: you can show you care about others by being a part of the solution. Can you guys say that with me? Ready? 1, 2, 3. You can show you care about others by being part of the solution. Great job. That's right. You can show you care about others by being part of the solution. You can help to make peace. You are a peacemaker. You are smart enough. You are wise enough. You are brave enough to do those things. And today in our Bible story, we're going to look at somebody who did just that. Make peace. And as we're going throughout this, I want you guys to open your Bibles up to our memory verse, because in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking about this memory verse too. Our memory verse is in Romans chapter 14, verse 19. And we'll get into it in just a minute. But again, that's Romans chapter 14, verse 19. Again, let's get ready to learn one more time about how we can be peacemakers. And as we're getting prepared for that, what do you say we focus in on Jesus by singing and dancing and praising him together? So stand up to your feet and let's go!
It's time to play some music. It's time to make some noise. It's time to dance, clap your hands, don't stand still. Now let me hear you lose your voice.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 25.
God had promised David would be king, but for now, King Saul ruled Israel. David lived his life on the run, followed by a group of misfits who had become friends and servants. One day, they arrived in the desert of Paran, near the land of a wealthy man named Nabal, who owned 3,000 sheep.
We'll set up camp here, man.
At first, Nabal's servants didn't know what to think.
Too many strangers around these parts. We've had food and sheep go missing.
But David's men were honorable. They didn't try to steal from the shepherds. In fact, David protected Nabal's shepherds from any harm.
Stay as long as you like, my friend.
About time for sheep shearing, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Nabal will hold a grand feast when it's all over. Your men have helped us, so they should share in the celebration.
David called for 10 of his men and gave them a message to send to Nabal.
On it.
David's messengers hurried up the mountain to Nabal's estate and were brought to stand before him.
Well, what do you want?
Nabal sneered down at the men while he continued to chew on a fine leg of mutton.
David says, "May you live long. May things go well with you."
Continue.
He says, "I hear that you are clipping the wool off your sheep. When your shepherds were with us, we treated them well and protected them. Now please be kind to my men. Please give us any food you can find for us."
Nabal leapt from his seat and hurled the mutton bone across the room.
Who is this David? Probably a runaway servant. Why should I give bread and meat to a nobody? And his men who come from who knows where?
David's men returned to camp and delivered the news.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, yes, he did.
Men, put on your swords. We'll make Nabal wish he hadn't.
At no time at all, David and 400 of his men were marching up the mountain to confront Nabal. It seemed there was no stopping a battle. But Nabal's wife, Abigail, was far wiser than her husband. A servant told her what he had done.
David sent messengers asking for food, but Nabal shouted and was rude to them.
Go on.
The whole time we were near them, David's men were good to us. They were like a wall, keeping us safe. You've got to do something now, or terrible trouble will come.
There's no time to waste.
Abigail quickly directed her servants to gather supplies and put them on donkeys.
200 loaves of bread.
Check.
5 sheep.
Check.
1 bushel of cooked grain.
Check.
100 cakes of raisins and 200 cakes of figs.
Check. And check.
Well, you go on ahead. I'll follow.
The donkeys, loaded with good food, started down the mountain. Abigail got on her donkey and followed. From the valley, David and his men were approaching.
Everything we've done has been worthless. I watched over this fellow's property, but he's paid me back evil for good. We'll wipe him out.
As David's anger grew, though, he spotted something along the path. A pack of donkeys.
What's this?
Well, it looks like they're carrying something. Food for a feast, I'd say.
Behind the pack of donkeys, Abigail prepared for what lay ahead.
I must stop this.
The moment Abigail saw David, she slid off her donkey and fell face down on the ground before his feet.
Please, let me speak. Let me take the blame for Nabal's actions.
Abigail raised her eyes just enough to notice David's surprised face. He nodded.
Don't pay attention to Nabal. He's always doing foolish things. I'm sorry I didn't get to see your messengers, but I've brought a gift for you. Right now, the Lord has kept you from killing Nabal and his men. Let the Lord deal with your enemies.
Abigail rose to her feet. David and his men listened, surprised by the strength of her message.
You fight the Lord's battles, so he will give your family line a kingdom that will last. He'll make you ruler of Israel. And when he does, you won't have a heavy load on your mind about killing people with no reason. The Lord will give you success. When that happens, please remember me.
Abigail took a deep breath and waited. David smiled.
Give praise to the Lord. He sent you to find me. May he bless you for this. You have kept me from using my own hands to get even.
David's men unloaded the food that Abigail had brought.
Go home in peace. I'll do what you have asked.
Abigail made her way back up the hillside to her home. She had chosen to humble herself and do the hard yet creative work of making peace. In the end, Nabal paid the high price for his foolish anger, but God blessed Abigail.
You stood before creation, eternity in your hand, and you spoke the earth into motion. My soul now to stand. You stood before my failure and carried the cross for my shame. My sin weighed upon your shoulders. My soul now to stand. So what could I say? What could I do? But offer this heart, oh God, completely to you. So I woke up on salvation. Your spirit alive
Kidsway, thank you so much for worshiping with us. It really is a big deal that we get to spend that time and worship Jesus. Whether you're worshiping with your entire family, whether you're here in church and worshiping with a bunch of people, or maybe it's just you, it is such a big deal because when it's just you, God sees you spending that time with him, wanting to get to know him better, wanting to be closer to him. He loves to see that. So you're never alone. He's able to see you in those times, worshiping him in your own personal moment. That's such a big deal. So thank you so much for spending that time with us. And as we get into our story, I just want to touch on it real quick because Abigail was so absolutely amazing. She was awesome, right? Like she kind of stepped in and intervened, and she actually brought peace to a situation that she didn't really have to. She was a peacemaker. And that's what you are. You are a peacemaker. And I get it, like you might see some friends or maybe somebody in your family and you see that they're having problems or that somebody said something mean and then somebody else said something mean and it might have started an argument and you see this happening and you're like, no, I'm just not gonna get involved. And that's okay, but don't forget, you are a peacemaker. God gave you a heart to care for people, and he gave you a mind to be creative, to be able to think about solutions to problems. So if it is friends or family, maybe you can kind of talk to each other and kind of reset, say, hey, hold on, wait, like don't forget, you guys care for each other. Let's talk about this. Or you say, hey, I don't think they meant it that way. Or hey, what did you really mean when you said that? There's so many ways that you can be creative to bring peace to a situation. You are a peacemaker. And do you know our big answer? Do you remember what our big answer says? It says, you can show you care about others by being part of the solution. Can you say that with me? Ready on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You can show you care about others by being part of the solution. That's right, you peacemaker. You can be a part of the solution. Remember, God gave you that heart to care for people, and he gave you a creative mind to be able to do so. Our memory verse even talks about how we can build each other up. We can give each other compliments. We can say nice things. We can remind people about who they are and all of the good characteristics and quality that they have as a person. Our Bible verse is from Romans chapter 14, verse 19, and it says this: so let us do all we can to live in peace, and let us work hard to build up one another. Romans 14:19. We're going to say that one more time. So let us do all we can to live in peace, and let us work hard to build up one another. Romans 14:19. That's right. It says, let us work hard to build up one another. This building up one another, sometimes it might take a little bit of thought on our end. You might have to think about your friend. It's like, okay, what is my friend really good at? What is my friend like? What are they worried about? You might have to work hard to think about some of these things and think about what it might take to build up one another. And that's okay. God says you can work hard. You have an amazing heart and you have a creative and awesome mind. So work hard in those things to build each other up. You can build up your brother, your sister, your mom and dad. They even need words of encouragement sometimes. Even a simple thank you to your parents can help them out so much. So let's work hard to build each other up and do all we can to live in peace, just like Romans chapter 14, verse 19 says. Kidsway, I'm so glad that we got to spend this time here with you today. We hope to see you back next month, May 5th. May 2nd, I'm sorry, got my days crossed up. May 2nd is the next time we'll see you right back here. So make sure, same time, same place, right back here, and we'll see you then. Bye.